name's Olivia, and today I'm going to be doing my makeup routine with you guys, and it's going to be Phlebotomy edition. So first I started with my double cleanse. I use the Bliss foam wash, and then I use an Oatmeal cleansing balm. Follow up with my sunscreen, and this is the e.l.f. Skin Wow Glow sunscreen, and this is the Sunburst, and it has a little tint to it, and it gives me like that dewy look that I like in the summer. So currently I am in the patient care technician program at my college, and what it consists of is phlebotomy, EKG, and CNA. And currently I am in phlebotomy. And it consists of a 16-week course. So the first 8 weeks is class, and the second 8 weeks is clinical, and my class is hybrid, so we only go on once a week. It's for like 2 to 3 hours, and then we go home and we do our homework, and it's a lot of book work and information and simulations and stuff like that. Next, I use my CORSX Hyaluronic Acid Intensive Cream. And currently where I'm at right now is actually my last week of clinicals. Yay. And then we are accredited by NHA, which is the exam I take. And for the exam, I take my exam May 19th, and I'm hoping to get certified. I'm studying my ass off. It's a lot of information, and just a little background of the test, at least that I know. It is 120 questions, and 20 questions are dummy questions, and then the 100 questions are what they score you on. And they score you on urgency, difficulty, and frequency. So that's kind of a little weird scoring. I know I will do good because I have been studying, and everything that I learned in class applies to it. So next I am going to use the Born This Way Illuminating Soothing Concealer in the shade Oatmeal. So first, when we started class, it was just like a little bit of like introduction. Really nothing much on the first day, just kind of getting used to like the equipment, the tourniquet, and my professor actually sent us home some supplies so we can get, like I said, just get used to the materials, and so we're kind of like desensitizing yourself from needles, which is genuinely something that I feel like as a phlebotomist you need, because I'm a hypocrite and I do not like getting my blood drawn, nor do I like needles, but yeah, I can do it on other hypocrite. And then I would say the first thing we learned was definitely the tourniquet, using the materials, using the proper PPE, then practiced on the arms. So next I'm going to take my sponge, and I'm going to take my Morphe Sunsetter Setting Spray, and it is a sunscreen mist, and I like using this to protect my skin. And I find that when I use setting sprays on my sponge, I just get like more, I don't even know how to describe it, it just looks better. So later on, we first started with capillary punctures, meaning it is a finger poke, or it could be a heel for a baby. And basically these two fingers, and it's just a little lancet, a little tiny needle, and you just get a little blood, kind of like a glucose. For NHA, I think we needed 10 to pass the class and get certified. And then we do hold family and friends events, and it's like the title, we bring our families and friends and we basically poke them so we can get our sticks in, so we can go ahead and go to clinicals and do the certification. And then my experience with that was those were easy, and in class we did them on each other, and I immediately got my 10 like that. They're significantly easy, and I feel like that's kind of like the leeway into like dealing with needles, seeing blood, kind of doing like the whole shebang, you know. And then later on we had moved into the arms, which they're like just fake arms that have fake blood, and you draw from them. I hate them. They do not work. It's good practice, but again, you want that satisfaction of like, oh, I know I draw blood. So next I use my Stay Matte But Not Flat in shade Nude. I love this so much. It gives me like that still dewy but like matte look, and it just kind of sets everything in. So after the arms, our professor didn't really push us to draw blood that quickly, because she wanted us to be familiar and be comfortable with doing it. Volunteered to be the first person to draw blood, and it was my professor, and it was successful, which I was very surprised because that was the first time I've ever done that on a person, and oh my gosh, was I nervous. My hands were shaking, and it was just so nerve-wracking because you don't know what to expect. You've never done it. It was like adrenaline starts to kick in, but it was thrilling. My Tarte palette, and it is the Clay Play Volume 2. This is what it looks like. So what I use in this palette is typically mostly the highlighter and the bronzer, and right now I'm going to go ahead and bronze. So yeah, after that first draw, I definitely started feeling more confident, especially because it was successful. We started to go ahead and go through and do more, and my professor actually held open labs, which helped because I could practice. My professor let me draw her blood, and some of my peers came in and they let me draw their blood. I let them draw my blood. And I swear at this point I don't have any veins anymore, the amount of times I let my peers draw my blood. I was confident enough to know what I was doing, and I didn't second guess myself, because I feel like at the first time you're like, oh my gosh, which vein do I choose? Like, you know, you're always told to always use the one in the middle, and at my clinicals I was told different. Always use the most visible, like the bounciest that you can feel. And again, after you're certified and you go to a facility, follow their protocols, but just do what makes you feel comfortable, which you know that it would create a successful draw and less pain or anxiety for the patient. But what made it difficult in class was I felt like we just didn't get enough time. We did also have another friends and family event, and this time it was drawing blood. And we had students, other medical students, who they were given extra credit if they went and they let us draw their blood. So that was a little interesting. I had a lot of my friends and family come. I'm so grateful. Mind you, I am still new at drawing blood, and at this point I had a lot of unsuccessful, but I had a lot of successful, and I learned what not to do, and I learned what to do, and it eased more of my anxiety, and I was able to kind of like help my family, friends, my patients. It was fun, and again, I felt more confident, and at this point I already had like maybe like 20 successful at this point, and for the NHA exam you only need 30. I am going to use my NYX Buttermelt blush. To let you know, the brushes that I am using are the Cala brushes. Great brushes. Then after our family and friends event, it was pretty much closer to clinicals, and we were just studying for our final and just practicing. That's it. And just doing all the book work, and especially practicing the color of the vials and what additive and what they're used for. That was definitely the hardest thing for me, and I'm actually still learning it, because what I learned in class is different from my clinical. It's definitely something that you have to adapt to, especially at like different facilities. So next, after this, I am going to do my mascara. So I use my eyelash curler, and then I am using the Too Faced Better Than Sex mascara, and it is the shade, I can't see the shade, but it's brown. So yeah, and then we finally got assigned our clinical sites, and I was super grateful for mine. We had the option to choose from a hospital or an outpatient setting, but I chose the outpatient setting because it's just what I'm more familiar with, and especially for like my first time dealing with needles, like I chose the outpatient. Don't get me started on all the things that you need to get done beforehand, like a background check, vaccines. It was a lot, but that's why I recommend you start very early, get that done, and then the faster you do that, my experience, the faster I was able to get in contact with my clinic site. It just made it more smoother and easier. So then class finally ends. We had our little goodbye, and clinical started. I was nervous, and at first I just kind of observed, and then my preceptor just threw me in, and I was surprised. I'm actually fairly decent at it, and there was a lot that I had to accommodate to my preceptor, because I had to do it their way and not the way I was taught, because you just have to follow their protocols, and you know, as much as possible you want to follow what you learned at school. and in your classroom. But to a certain extent, you know, you learn different techniques and what's better for you and for the patient. And, you know, everyone that I worked with at my clinical site, like the employees, they all went to different programs. So they all had different techniques, and some of them had like different credentials and stuff like that. So it was definitely an experience. And I worked with multiple preceptors and I saw multiple techniques, and I'm very, very grateful that I did, because now I know different techniques. I'll go ahead and do my eyebrows. And I am using the Precisely My Eyebrow pencil from Benefit, and I think this is shade 3. They have a lot of shades. And with this, first I start under, and then I go on top, and then I create my wing at the bottom, and then I kind of smooth it in to kind of shade it out, and I do the same thing for the other. Knowing that I'm at my brink of my clinicals, I am super excited. And I felt like I learned a lot, especially with like processing, using like the centrifuge, like transportation, sending it to the lab. There's a lot that a phlebotomist does, and I further appreciate phlebotomists. They do a lot for the healthcare team, and they are, oh my gosh, they're just very strategic. And I would say that, like, if you have like a willingness to like treat patients, talk to them, help them out, and also like are just hands-on, phlebotomy is for you. And I would say one thing that I can take away from my clinicals is how great I am at interacting with my patients. And this was the first time I've ever had student-patient contact in my career, and I was surprised that I was able to actually genuinely have a conversation with patients. And I feel like having a conversation with patients is very beneficial, because it doesn't only help you, but it helps the patient, because like you want them to feel as comfortable as possible so you can do your job. I follow up with some kind of lip gloss, lip balm, but I'm really rocking this Maracuja Juicy Lip by Tarte. I have the whole entire set, and I use shade Grapefruit as kind of like my daily shade. I love it. Very natural. And then lastly, I go ahead and do my highlighter. And for this, I use the Tarte palette again, and I use the highlighter called Timber. So like, one thing I seem to observe at my clinical sites can be just like, you just meet everyone who, like, it's very diverse, and you know, you have to have good communication skills, and you just gotta, like, sometimes patients will, you know, they're going through a lot, and they have opinions, and, you know, you just gotta let that go, and you just have to be that type of person to let it go. Again, with my spray. So I just went ahead and put on my scarf, and I'll probably try to find an outfit to match. Let's see, but I can change colors. And my overall experience with phlebotomy has been super good, and I genuinely recommend it if you love the healthcare field and you want an entry-level job. One thing that's been really hard for me is just what I'm going through with my hair, and of course it has to happen during this time. I'm trying to keep a good outlook, and my professor has been so lenient with me, and I'm so grateful. And I'm so grateful that next week is my last day at clinicals, and it's kind of sappy. It's like a goodbye, but like a new start, and I am super excited. And then I just study, and I have my exam, and then I start my summer classes for my PCT. So thank you for watching me do my makeup. I will post all the beauty items in the description, and I appreciate you for coming here and wanting to listen to me. And if you are a current phlebotomist or a future phlebotomist or a student phlebotomist like me, I thank you for your effort and your ability to persevere through what you do as a job, and we need more people like you. It was a great experience. I had a great time, and I'm so excited to apply to the role. Thank you.